I'm sitting here in this boring room, just another rainy Sunday afternoon, wasting my time, got nothing to do. I'm hanging around, I'm waiting for you, but nothing ever happens. So I wonder, I'm driving around in my car, driving too fast, I'm driving too far. I'd like to change my point of view. I feel so lonely waiting for you, but nothing ever happens. So I wonder how, I wonder why. Yesterday you told me about the blueberry sky, and all that I can see is just a yellow lemon tree. I'm turning my head up and down, turning around. All that I can see is just another lemon tree. Sing da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 da.
My name is Ross Wardell. What else do you want to know? I live in Drummond, which is in Dalesford, Victoria. I am 65 and a half years old. What else?
Describe your farm.
Oh, well, I have got 300 beehives. I've got 8 acres. I have got cows and sheep, geese and chooks, a dog, and that's it. One sec, put it down. We're doing something, young fella.
It's done, man.
We're doing something, so keep Nick on. We're filming.
Yeah?
We're being interviewed.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, that's all right. Don't worry about it.
Right.
I have got a lovely wife
Yes, yes.
whose name is Christine. All right, that's it. What else do you want to know?
So, describe where you choose the industry to produce corn.
Describe why I chose to do the bees.
Yeah, and how many years?
34 years ago, I built my house. My wife and I and her father and mother built the house that I live in, and the man who cut the timber for the house owned beehives. So when we bought the timber, he sold us a beehive, and that's what got me interested in doing the bees. And then when we got the first beehive, then we got more beehives and we started working with the beehive.
So you learned the horticulture skills from that man?
I learnt most of the skills I know about bees from this man. He's an 80-year-old man who's been doing bees for 60 or 70 years. So what he doesn't know, it doesn't matter. So he's a very knowledgeable human being. And he hasn't taught me everything he knows, but he's taught me a lot of things about the maintenance and the care of beehives. And also, in the process of teaching you about bees, he gives you an interest in bees, the love of working with bees, through his own enthusiasm when he shows you and works with you with the bees.
Yeah, so describe the whole process of how to produce the corn. Yeah.
So what you get, you've got a beehive, and usually their beehives are 2 boxes, 2 square boxes or rectangular boxes with 8 frames. And a frame is a wooden frame with wax in it, and there's 8 of these frames in each box, and the bees make the wax drawn out to hexagonal shape holes in the frame, and that is where the bees put the honey. And how bees get honey is that they fly to a gum tree with flowers, and they get the nectar out of the flower and come back to the beehive and pass it to another bee, who passes it to another bee. And the process of making honey is nectar, and the bacteria of a bee's stomach turns the nectar into honey. And then the bees put it into the frame, into the hexagonal holes, and then they fill that up, and at night the bees sit over the fresh honey, flap their wings to heat it up to take the moisture out of the honey. Otherwise, if you don't take the moisture out of the honey, it becomes ferments, it goes off. So the bees flap their wings and heat it up, and it takes the moisture out of the honey. And then I go check the beehive to make sure that the frames are full of honey. I take them out, put other frames back in, take them out and take them home where I have got a centrifuge, a big, a circular frame with cages in the middle that you put the frames in, that spins around. I can't remember the speed, but it spins around, and the honey is drawn out of the frame and runs down the side, and then I put it into a big tank, and then I put it into tubs and jars, and I bring it here. That's roughly how it's done.
Yes.
I mean, there's a whole lot of complications. There's on the frames, when you pull a frame out of a beehive, the bees cover it with wax to stop the honey falling out. So you have to take the wax off the frame before you spin it out. And so there's those sorts of things. And you just have to check what's happening that way. So basically that is how I get the honey from a beehive into there.
So when you label all the packaging, then you need to sell this kind of automatic.
Yes. Yes. I have to every week fill up 1 kilo or 3 kilos or half a kilo containers with honey. And I usually bring about 120 to 140 kilograms here every week. Not necessarily I'll sell it, but that's usually I'll do about 120 to 140 kilograms. I jar up every week because my wife does markets as well.
Yes, so during the whole process, which part is your most enjoyable? Or which part
The most enjoyable that I like the best is taking honey off, is pulling the frames, taking the wax off and putting them into the spinner. I like that the best.
Why?
I don't know. I just enjoy, because it's a physical thing. It's a very physical, hard work. I enjoy going out and taking the honey off the bees and being in the bush with the bees and everything. But for enjoyability, the physicality of taking the honey off, to me is the great thing I like.
Yes, so which part is most difficult for you?
Taking the honey off. The most difficult thing
Yeah, but
is extracting the honey, and that's the one that I like the best. Because difficulty doesn't necessitate badness. Difficulty just means it's hard to do. You can still enjoy things that are hard to do.
yeah.
Going out and doing the bees and taking the honey out of a living beehive is enjoyable, and they bite you and a whole lot of other things. But I get as much pleasure out of doing the physical work as I do getting tactile with the beehive. Right? 1 second.
When you finish the one place, because you needed to travel all the beehive
Yes.
to another location.
Yes.
So
I have to put the beehives.
Yes.
I've got a trailer, a big trailer. I can put 50 beehives on the back of my trailer, or 100, it won't matter. And then I move from one bee site to another. I wheel them off with a trolley and then put them out into the paddock, and then you leave them, because most sites most trees, like the yellow box or whatever, the yellow gum and all that, last for about 2 months, sometimes 3 months, and so you leave them there for 2 months or 3 months. But in the winter, for about 4 months, 4.5 months, 5 months, we got nothing. The bees just sit in their beehive, and I usually take them to a bit warmer than where I am because it gets cold, but I put them in Bendigo or somewhere and leave them, but I leave them with lots of honey in, and I winter them down. I put them into single boxes and leave them for the winter, and they survive all right. And then at the start of spring, we go onto the canola, the yellow flower, the oil flower, and they start to breed. They start laying eggs and bringing in honey, and bees need lots of pollen to breed.
Can I have two, please? One sugar.
Bees can't survive without pollen. And so in spring, the canola plant has got a lot of pollen and a lot of honey. So that's very good for us.
Yes, so did there have some point to how to choose another location?
You choose another location through what's flowering. You go to different locations. I go to different sites and have a look what is flowering. The trees are flowering, what's happening around. If there's some trees don't give pollen, and so you have to hunt around to see if there's small plants and stuff flowering to give the bees pollen, because bees need pollen or they die. And so when you look for a bee site, you not only look for the source of honey, you look for a source of pollen as well.
Yeah, so they are the whitelist not belong to any other farmer or?
No, a lot of sites I use people's farms.
Wow.
And they just say that's fine. You go to the sea, you go and talk to the farmer and say, can I put bees on your place? And he says yes. And so you just drive in, you shut the gates, do everything that you have to do to respect the farmer's property, but you just go and put the bees on. And they like it because it helps their trees and plants and stuff. And they don't mind. Majority of farmers in Australia don't mind beehives being on their place because it doesn't do any damage to them. And most beekeepers respect the farmers' wishes and what they need to do and what they want, you know, with shutting gates and looking after the animals that you're dealing with. All right?
Yes. Can you remember a story about like similar things that's very impressed yourself? Your wife?
So
best
you're,
honey.
yeah.
The best honey.
It's like when I used to go take my bees to Rainbow, which is up in northwest of Victoria.
Oh, northwest of
Victoria, yeah.
How far from your farm?
About 300 kilometres. And I've got a friend with a farm, and I take it up there, and it's all sand. But it's got a whole lot of bushes in there that are really good for the bees, banksia and a whole lot of other things, tea trees and stuff like that. And I go up there, and I've been up there, and I've gone out into the paddock, and the trail of full of bees, 3 ton of bees on the back, sank to the axle, and I had to drag it all through the sand, and then you have to empty it so you can get yourself and your car out. And so I had very difficult times because the axle of the trailer sank into the sand because it was so heavy, and we just had to drag through, and then I had to unload all the bees to be able to get out of there. So, but I haven't got many anecdotal stories with any humour or anything like that, because most of the time that you take bees out, it's all hard work. You're just unloading bees, checking that they're all right, and it's mundane. It's like any other job. Beekeeping is no different to being being in an office in the city. There's so many tasks to do, and you have to do them. Whether you're sitting in an office and writing all the things, or me picking up beehives and checking them and taking the honey off, there's no difference.
Oh, but the worker condition, you know.
Yes,
The
the conditions are different because
extreme
I get,
weather
I get rained on. But the beauty of it is that you can go out there and you're working with your bees, and there's hawks and eagles flying around, and there's kangaroos, or there's animals just walking around near you.
Yeah, yeah.
Snakes. I picked up beehives and lifted them on to the trailer, and underneath the beehive was a snake sleeping in under the beehive, and it just sits there, and then you don't worry about it
Yeah.
because it was just sleeping, and so I picked the beehive up and moved it and left it alone. We don't kill snakes.
Yes, they don't attack humans.
They do attack people, but you just be careful and don't threaten them, and they won't chase you. Snakes can't eat you, right? A snake can't eat you, so
Yeah.
it will not chase you to eat you. The first instinct of a snake when humans come is to run away, so you let them run away. That's all I ever do. I don't try to kill them or anything. All I do is let them run away. But I see a lot of snakes. I see lots of spiders and lots of things. But I see lovely birds, and I see animals, kangaroos, wombats, all different lizards and goannas and all that in my work. When you're walking around and dealing with your beehives, because you're in a natural environment.
Yeah, yeah. Usually, Christy will assist you.
No, Christine's allergic to bees.
Uh,
If she gets bitten, we were in the desert once, and we had a lot of bees. This is a long time ago. Christine and I were out doing the bees, and she got stung, and she swelled up huge. Christine and I were in a place called Nil, in the desert there, in the sand, and she got bitten by the bees and swell up huge, and we had to get her into hospital because she nearly died. So I had to throw all the motorbikes and all the stuff in the back of the ute, and then drive her through the sand out to a hospital at Nil. And we walked into the hospital, and the nurse came walking up and said, "I know what's wrong with you, come with me." And they saved her life with an epidural, a pin, to reduce the...
you mean yourself or Christy?
Christine.
Yeah.
Christine's allergic to bees. I'm not. And so she can't help me.
Oh, really?
She helps me when we put the hunt and all that, but she can't help me physically with the bees. She loves the bees more than me.
Yeah. But I get allergic.
Yeah,
so
but she loves the bees more than me, but she's allergic to bees. So I can do the work. She can help when she paints the bees boxes and puts the frames in. She does all that, but she loves the bees, physically likes the bees better than me.
Yeah.
But unfortunately she can't do it. All right?
Yeah. So the bee is not so dangerous to say will attack you when
No, bees don't. I've got no problem with bees. They bite me 10 times and it doesn't hurt. I mean, it doesn't affect me. I've been bitten more than 10 times on my hands, and I don't get any reaction. Right? I don't get any reaction at
They're
all.
all very nice to you.
Sorry?
They're all very nice to you.
They are very nice to me. It doesn't affect me at all.
Yes, so can you describe the bee, like nature, that kind of animal? Very interesting in your eyes? Or?
I think bees are the most amazing creatures, as in how they make honey by them swallowing the nectar, and the bacteria in the stomach changes the nectar into honey. They're also talk to each other, because when a beehive gets into a new place, they send out 200 bees in all directions, every direction you can think of, to find out what is out there. And so all the bees come back and talk to each other by doing a little dance. And they dance in front of all the other bees, right? And tell them what is out there. Then all the hive decides where they go. It's a true democracy because the hive decides where to go. Not one bee, not two bees. The whole hive decides where the bees are going to go.
So amazing.
That is amazing. And there's only one producer of bees, the queen, lays the eggs. Right? But every female bee, majority of bees are female,
Yeah.
and every bee has got the capacity to lay an egg. And sometimes a bee walking around, a working bee, will lay an egg in the hive. Then some other bee will find that egg and then hunts around till they find the bee that laid it and kill that bee.
Wow, yeah.
Because they're not allowed to lay an egg. The only person allowed to lay an egg is a queen, because they're fertile eggs. The egg a normal bee lays is not fertile, so if there's a whole lot of non-fertile eggs in a beehive, the hive won't survive. So they have to kill the bee to stop her from laying eggs, because it's a non-fertile. Because when the bees see a little egg at the bottom of a frame, they put royal jelly, which is a mixture of pollen and honey and nectar, and they put it to feed the little egg, right? But if it's a non-fertile egg, it's pointless. It's a waste of energy. So they will not do that. So they kill the egg, because it doesn't need to be killed anyway, but they'll take the egg out and find the girl that laid it and kill her.
Wow, amazing.
And if there's 50,000 bees in a hive, you tell me how they find that girl, how they find a single bee. So you tell me that's a very good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, interesting.
But it's a total, bees are all about survival. They won't let unfertile eggs survive. They all communicate with each other for the betterment of the hive. So it's it's better than democracy in some respects, because it's a social environment. It's a living creature. The whole hive is a living creature. It turns into a single entity, a living entity, through their ability to share.
Yes.
That's what I think about bees.
So they can't survive by themselves, only one bee.
No,
They
no.
always living in group.
Well, they have to, because you need a group to be able to get enough honey to keep the group going. One bee, bees live for, in the middle of summer, 2 weeks. In the winter, 6 weeks. That's it. They've got, in the middle of summer when they're working hard, 2 weeks is all their life is.
Wow, only 2 weeks.
Only 2 weeks.
They was born and
Yeah, they're hatched and die within 2 weeks. In winter, when they're not working as hard, 6 weeks.
wow, really
But see, we don't understand what they understand. So it's only a relative term. You say it's a short, we look at 2 weeks as a very short thing, or 3 weeks, but to them it's a life, isn't it? And it's no different if you lived 100 years,
yes.
you're born and you live 100 years, that's a life, isn't it?
Yes.
A bee is born and lives 2 weeks, that's a life, isn't it? What's the difference? There is no difference, is there?
Yeah, really a very amazing
Sorry?
create, like animals.
They are. They are very amazing animals, and we depend on them. Human people depend on bees for our survival, because they pollinate half the fruit and vegetables we eat are pollinated by bees. But there's other pollinators, mosquitoes pollinate, flies pollinate, there's a whole lot of other pollinators, but bees are the most common and more of pollinators. We need pollinators for human beings to survive. there was no pollinators out there, no bees, no mosquitoes and stuff, we would be dead in 6 months because we wouldn't have any food to eat.
Yes. Wow.
Well, so bees are really a huge part of the existence. Well, Earth is a living organism, isn't it? Gaia. The Earth is a living organism, and the bees are a part of that living organism. See, we forget, as human beings, we think we're totally independent, but it's madness, because everything's related to everything else. We need everything on Earth as much as they need us. They don't need us at all. Humans could disappear off Earth tomorrow; it wouldn't make would make a really good difference. Animals would survive much better, but in essence, for our survival, human beings, we are totally reliant on all the creatures that are living around us.
So you really love them very much?
Oh yes, I love my bees. Yes, you could say that, because they're a living, working creature. They're existing and doing what they're supposed to do, as opposed to a lot of other things. Human beings don't live and do what they're supposed to do. Bees do.
In some maybe bee work better than human beings.
No, you can't. There's no comparison. You can't say that one creature works better than another creature, because it's a different structure. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so bees work harder. They work themselves to death. Humans don't work themselves to death. Some people do, but on the majority, humans don't work themselves to death, where a bee will. Right. And so they work different than us in some respects.
Yes. So would you hope your children can continue to do that job?
If I had children, I haven't got any children, but if I had children, I would hope that they would do it.
But Christy told me,
We have got adopted children,
yeah.
we've foster children,
Oh, really?
yes.
Yes. So last
And
time,
they won't do the bees. They're interested in other things.
they all go to
They live in Melbourne and they builders and all this sort of crap. They're young people with the young families are not interested in bee keeping, all right?
yeah.
But that's fine. That's their choice. It's not. I can't make the choice on anybody else's life, can I? I mean, it would be nice if I had a son that would come and work with me and want to do my bees, right? Or a daughter. But I haven't, so it doesn't matter. You know?
Yeah.
Life
So,
goes on. There's plenty of beekeepers.
last time when I came across your neighborhood,
Yeah.
Justine
Justine.
interesting to do that kind of
Yes, Justine is going to do that.
yeah.
She could teach her children to do that. But I unfortunately haven't got any children to do that, all right? But that's fine, that's no big deal. I can't change life.
Yeah. So Justine would learn the skill from you.
Justine will learn some of the skills from me. And if you've got some basic intelligence, then you pick a lot of it up yourself. And once you start working with the bees, they tell you, you have to open your ears and your body, and they tell you everything. The bees are forever telling you what's happening. You just have to know how to listen to it.
So you never feel pity to choose this
Sorry?
as your job?
No, I didn't choose this as my job.
Yeah.
I've done other things in my life. You know, drove trucks interstate. I've looked after children and I've worked on farms and milked cows and I've done a lot of varying things in my life. So I just fall into things. I've never chosen anything I've ever done. They've chosen me
Really? Why you say that?
because I've never chosen, I've never had the capacity or the want to choose Except once when I was very young, I wanted to be a chef, and I became a chef. And I didn't like it very much. But I have never ever chosen a job in my whole life. I fall into it. It's all accident. I just come across and somebody says you could do this, or I'll say yes, and that happens. So no, I've never. Most of my life, I've never chosen anything I've ever done. It's chosen me.
So if you would like to do anything else very different in your
Yes.
life, do you have something or artist you would like to do? Traveling or
No, we've travelled a little bit, but I don't know.
so what about Christy?
Oh, Christine,
Yeah.
she's into art. She paints. She's a really good artist and a writer.
Wow.
She's an author. She hasn't published a book, but she's written books. And she paints pictures and everything. I'm doing weaving. I love weaving. And that would be nice. When I get a little bit older and more decrepit that I can't do this sort of stuff, then I'll do a lot more weaving and macrame and knitting. I like that. But I don't know what else. I wait for things to happen. Things happen. And that's how my life has always been. I don't choose it.
So how about your social life? Just come here and
That's it. I haven't got a social life. Christine and I live in our house. We don't go out very much. We totally enjoy our environment that we live in, our little 8 acres, and poke around with our sheep and our farm. We've got quite a few friends that we see occasionally, but we don't go out at all. We don't. I've been married for 34 years, and I've been taking Christine out 10 times. 10 times, which is to some people not very much. To me, it's a lot. But, but we all see the world different, don't we? But I can't comment. I can't say whether Christine's happy with that or not. You have to talk to Christine because she's
maybe next time.
yes, but Christine is her own person.
Yes.
But I perceive that we're very happily married, and she seems content in what we do. But I can't speak for Christine. It's not my place. She has to speak for herself.
All right.
That's how it goes. Right?
So I will take some other shoot footage.
So say that again.
Other footage when you're working for communication with the customer.
Yes,
Yes, it's that.
that's all.
Yeah.
That's
So I will.
that's my social
Life.
engagement. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in essence, it is
Yeah, make a lot.
because
of
I've got a lot of work to do during the weekend, and being not very well these days, I find it very hard to do a whole lot of other things anyway. So I can't go out and stuff. I find it hard to go. But this is the only social environment that I've got. Good, bad, or indifferent. It doesn't matter, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yes. So this weekend may be a relax for you because your diary life, just like last time I visited you,
Yes.
very busy all day.
Yes, that's
Have
right.
a schedule.
Yeah. But I'm not as busy now as I was because I get sicker. And when I get sicker, I can't do as much.
Yeah, so you take the medicine or need to
I had chemo in January and they've just offered me more chemo, but I'm not going to have chemo. They nearly killed me last time. Yeah, I nearly died twice. But I'll wait for a little bit longer before I have to have chemo again. So they don't do anything. There's nothing they can do. I don't have medication, except for pain. I've got painkillers for all the pain on me. But apart from that, no, I don't have medication for the cancer because there's no medication for it. Right?
I think that Christina is very worried about you because
Well, it's like I said, I can't speak for Christine.
yeah.
I suspect she's very worried about me.
And
And I would prefer her not to be worried about me. Because it makes me sad to see her worry. I would be much happier if she didn't worry so much.
yeah.
Because it's unfair on me to be sick and unfair on Christine for me to be sick. I can't control the sickness, but it makes her worry. And it's not very good. I feel not very good that she has to worry about me.
So last night when she meets the flower,
Tell me something, what is the flower that you gave her? Do you know? Do
so-
you know the name of it?
of course it's a very beautiful flower.
What is it called? Come on.
I don't know how to describe it by
No, don't describe it. Tell me what the name is.
兰花 兰花
Lava.
yes motherly 兰花 and it will blossom white flower
White flower.
white
Is
flower
it outdoor plant or indoor?
indoor
Indoor.
yes don't get too much water
Don't give too much water.
yeah when they need just put it
Loha. Is that how you say it?
yeah
Loha.
yes don't get too much
All right. I won't. I
yes
won't.
yes
She loved it. She thought it was a beautiful plant, but she didn't know what it was. So
Yes.
we don't know whether to put it outside or inside. So it's inside, white flower. Good.
yes
All right. I will tell her. All right.
I was so happy because Christy likes that
Oh yes, Christine. She loves gardening. She
Yeah.
loves doing all that cool stuff.
yes
You know?
yes it must be because ladies are like that
Yeah.
Remember the day I set you free. I told you you could always count on me, darling. From that day on, I made a vow I'll be there when you want me, some way, somehow. 'Cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you, babe. And we can whisper things, secrets from our American dreams. Baby needs some protection, but I'm a kid like everyone else.